feel like you and I are like one in the same, like, I feel like you are like one of the main entrepreneurs that I can relate to and that understands the plight, because I think that women, I feel like as women, you know, when you start a business, people make you believe that you have to put on this illusion. Like, hello, I live this perfect life. Look at me and my cool pictures and my nice makeup. It's like, no, that's not real. Like, I can't relate to that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't, because that's an illusion. That's fake. Like, no woman is like that 24/7.
Right.
You know, and I think that women, we lie to each other, and it'd be like, I be scrolling like, girl, stop lying to me. Like, just tell me the truth. Like, tell me what it's really like. You know, and I like that you are an authentic, real human being. You know, you talk about, you know, your kids and your life, and it's relatable. So I know I don't know if like a lot of people tell you this, but I appreciate that, and I love that about you.
Thank you.
So I guess we can kind of just jump into it, because I was going to kind of ask you a question like that anyway. What do you think of like other female entrepreneurs that put out that illusion of perfect life, everything is perfect, I have a perfect business?
Honestly, I scroll on by, and just because like I've worked with some people behind the scenes that put on that facade, I actually know how it's really like. So when I see it, I'm just like, and like I see people, not to sound like that, not all of them are like that now, but some of the ones I've had experience with, it's just like, and you see people getting sucked into it. It's just like, like. I'm like, what is the word I want to use? But like,
I totally understand. Yeah, like it's like I already know you're not really like that, so it's like I can't even take you seriously. You know what I'm saying? It's like because they put so much effort into the illusion. It's like other parts of the business just kind of fall apart.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I had made like a thing not the other day, I can't remember, it was like last month about like coaches and stuff, like I make 10K a month and blah blah blah. I'm just like, oh Jesus. It's like, yeah, when people actually knew, like you said, the behind the scenes and how they even make it, they make 10K because they are convincing enough to get people to spend money with them. I was like, they don't have any background, like people don't do research, and it's just like.
And I've also realized that I've done my research to where it's like I know what they're doing, and it's like I know that you're not actually making 10K doing the same thing that I'm doing. You're making 10K because you signed up for this, and they send you leads every month. You're paying probably like $500 a month for it. Good for you that you have that money to be able to invest in that, but I ain't got that. You know.
I mean, I was like, if you're gonna do all that, show them like the actual process of what you're doing. I only know of like a few people that are actually like doing that and like coaching, but they also have like a struggle behind them, or it took them years to build it up to where they're at now, and they'll be like, yeah, I built this in like 4 years though, so don't come over here trying to expect the same thing, which is like the same thing I usually preach about stuff too, because I'm like, I ain't 10K level yet. Hopefully, maybe next year.
But no, I definitely admire you because you keep it real. You know what I'm saying? Like, so tell me about like how you what made you want to get into this crazy life of being an entrepreneur? How did it all start for you? And when did you realize like, okay, I'm just gonna be myself? You know, because I think it takes a while for people to realize that, because they're so caught up in like starting a business, like putting on like, you know, having to do this and this and this and make sure everything is perfect, when it's just like, oh, if I just be myself, this is so much easier.
Right. Oh my gosh. So it all started back when I first moved back to Charleston, and I had my 4-year-old son, and at the time my husband just got out the Army. So like we were trying to figure out like some extra, like how to, like I was looking at jobs and everything. And then I realized, one, I can't work because my son and like daycare is expensive. And two, like I got my bachelor's and they only want to pay me like $12, $13 an hour. Like, what the hell is the point of that? But
I know
anyway,
that life.
so,
I know that struggle, girl.
I know. It's just like, really? But anyway, so I was doing volunteer work because I was like, I like being active and doing stuff. And then like the founder of that nonprofit was like, yeah, you need to do a business. She's like, the stuff you're doing here is like, you could do this in a business. And I was just like, okay, kind of dragging my feet. So she lit the fire. Like she got me set up with a website. She gave me like a Squarespace. She's like, this is what you're going to use. Find a domain and this, and then go ahead and figure out your business. I was like, all right. So that's how that came about. So it was just kind of threw in there, and like I kind of like did some research and stuff. But what made me realize about being myself was that like people still have like this facade or whatever you usually call it, like for business owners, like you need to be like uptight or like you shouldn't do this, that, and the third. So I was like, okay, let me try. Cause I was like, like y'all can tell now, I like memes and all that other stuff. So
I'm a meme girl too. So listen, it's all good.
Yeah. So trying to hide that and like trying to be more serious was rough. And then on top of that, like I was starting out and there's so much people like different information, like since you're starting out, you shouldn't charge this much, or this services are popular, like you have to have this or you're not going to do well, and blah, blah, blah. So I kind of like took in that information, and then just after a while, I just got tired of it. I just got tired of it after a while. I was like, I started out pretty well when I started my business. Like I was getting clients and everything, but like I priced myself so low and I was so doubtful about stuff. So like I was getting clients, but like they weren't the most ideal people I want to work with. Only a few of them. I won't say that because some of them I work with still to this day. But like there was some, it was just like it was a headache and a nightmare. So after a while, I was just like, you know what? I felt like I was putting on this different thing. I was like, I'm not like that. Like I like joking around and this, that, and third. And just like, okay, this is tiring. And I think maybe after I had my second son is when I really started like switching over. Like, okay, I was like, I just had a baby. Like I'm struggling. Like the struggle is real. I was just like, okay, I'm done. Like my brain was already fried having another baby. And I was just like, I'm done. So that's when I slowly started to kind of morph into just with my real personality and stuff. And now it's just like, take me as I am or just leave me alone. Like, I'm telling you up front who I am. And if you don't like it, like, don't even try to push yourself on it. Like, just keep it moving. Like, I'm fine. I don't want everybody near me.
Mm-hmm. And see, I love that, because I think people think that that's a crime to be real or whatever when it comes to your business, because how I've always looked at running a business is like, people always say, business, you got to separate business and personal, but I feel like business in a way is personal, because that's a part of you. Exactly. That's something that was an idea in your head and you gave birth to it essentially, so it's hard to separate the two and whatnot. And, in order to be able to stand out, you got to kind of show people like, hey, this is who I am. Hey, this is what I can do for you. This is what I can offer,
exactly.
So, and I know you do like a ton of different things. You're an incredibly smart person. I learn things from you every day. I'm on social media. So, so how did you kind of come into saying, okay, virtual assistant, these kinds of services, this is my lane. This is what I'm going to like rock it.
Okay, with that, honestly, it took trial and error, because after a while, like as I was doing different tasks for people, I was like, okay, like I like writing, I like social media was like a thing that needed to be done. And it was just like this trial and error. So I was like, I always tell people, if you want to, like I know it's frowned upon, like know your niche or whatever y'all call it, mm-hmm. Know your audience. Like I know that's recommended, but like it's also okay to try out different things just to see if you like it. And that's what I did. And then mm-hmm. I realized, one, some of that stuff was way too much work. And then two, I was like, I'm just not feeling anymore, like with writing. I was like, yeah, like some of the stuff I'm good at, but like I realized it was taking like the fun out of it, because I did like writing stuff for fun, and like now that I have to get paid, like it's nice, but it's just like, So that's like one of the things I ended up like taking off like this year. Mm-hmm. And then social media, like I'm good at that too, but certain aspects of it I do not like doing like at all. So that's why it's just like honestly, this trial and error is I'm working on like cutting that down. And like even now, COVID made me realize too, like, man, I don't really have enough time to be sitting here to be doing all this stuff. So that made me reevaluate like how much time I have a day to do stuff, and then like what stuff do I really like and what stuff is more would be more helpful to the people that I serve. So that's where that came from. And that's why now, even today, I am cutting down some services again. So I'm not gonna be offering some of the same stuff that I did like a couple months ago.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with that as well. Like it's all about, kind of figuring out what works for you, because, you're not going to realize if something is what you want to do unless you try it.
Right.
And sometimes like even the things that we think we're really good at, where we may not be as good as we thought we were. Right. So you mentioned COVID. I know like COVID has taught us all a lot about ourselves.
Our life upside down.
Yes. So talk about what COVID has been like for you, as an entrepreneur and working with other small businesses. What has that experience been like? Because as a business coach and, virtual assistant stuff, people kind of look to you to say like, okay, what do I do? And you're like, I don't know, because I know I'm like that, like, I don't know, like, you tell me, So talk about, COVID and how that's, changed you and taught you so much.
So COVID, like when I first started, none of us were prepared. So like, it was just like, oh, like we were about to be stuck indoors, like for real. So with that, because I have my young kids at home, so that made it hard to even like complete the work I needed to be done, which is kind of like a realization, like kind of backtrack. Like that made me realize like I don't have enough time to do like all the stuff I was doing just because COVID. And then I was like, damn, like how long are we gonna like be like this? But anyway, well, I forgot what I was talking about. COVID. See, I started rambling, but like with clients and everything, because so many people are losing their job and like so quickly, it was just kind of like some people started falling off, because like I had some clients that were like doing businesses on the side, so like, but their 9 to 5 was their main income. So like when they lost that, it was just like, oh, I can't work with you right now. So there came a point where like I had to close down my own business and kind of regroup, because I wasn't able to keep up with like tasks. And then like at the same time, most of my people are leaving because they couldn't afford services anymore because they lost their job or they had a decrease in clients themselves. So it's like, it was like a snowball effect at first. So I was like, okay, like I gotta unwillingly shut down my business a bit so I could kind of like regroup. Luckily, I was like, I had enough to kind of like keep me going, but the struggle was real for a little bit. But yeah, so COVID, goodness, that just flipped everything. But like after we got like a good group and everything, after like a month or so, I was like, okay, like this is what I have. Let me get serious about like my business and writing down my stuff and what direction I really want to take it in. So after I did that, I was able to kind of build and pivot. So now it's like getting back on track, but then I changed my mind again. So I like go like more people, but overall, like just all I can tell people is like you just have to kind of learn to pivot. Like if you do need to take a breather to step back, like do so, but make sure you jump right back in, because I'm gonna tell y'all now, like whoever's watching this or like us, like online businesses are gonna be booming and more people are gonna be turned online, even if they aren't online already. It's just like the online business industry is gonna be booming. Like as we can tell now, everything's like overcrowded, it seems like, because everyone is online and everyone's like complaining about their reach and all that stuff. So it's just the thing about pivoting. That's all I can tell people. It's like you just have to pivot.
No, I can definitely understand that. So, what was the question I was going to ask you? What are you're a mom, you're a wife, you're a business owner, you're also a virtual assistant, business coach, so many things to so many people. How are you still able to like keep a smile on your face? How do you like, manage? How do you juggle all of these different hats that you wear? And, of course I'm going to I'm going to ask that question, but I'm going to also ask a second question, how do you kind of maintain your own mental health throughout all of that, especially with, the uncertainty of now and things like that? How do you kind of maintain and manage through it all?
Okay, well, first I would say therapy. I had to go back in therapy. I
Oh,
honestly had to go
trust.
back in therapy
I
because,
understand.
yeah, because my coping mechanisms and everything, like with COVID, like that went downhill. Like they were already kind of iffy to begin with, but like when COVID hit, like I wasn't planning for myself. I was just like, okay, like I need to try and get this work done. And then right after that, so okay, I gotta try and keep my kids entertained. I gotta do this, and then I had like a mini breakdown, so I had to take a breather. That's kind of like another reason why I had to like close down a bit so I could kind of regroup. But honestly, therapy is one. Definitely, she's on me now. She's like self-care. So every day for at least 20 minutes, I either read, journal, or do something for myself. And I know if you're like already burnt out, it probably won't be as quick, but definitely taking time for yourself is a must. And honestly, with the smile and everything, I just think about like what I have planned someday, because some days I don't feel like it, and some days people get underneath my skin, and I don't have a strong tolerance for, I don't want to say the wrong word, but crazy.
Let's go with that one. Because I was thinking of like 100 words you could have used, but I was like, let's go with a safe one. Crazy.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I have words in my head, but I was just like, that's not what I need to be saying. But I just think about the end goals, like, okay, I think about my goals, like I have stuff written down. I'll look at that. I'm like, okay, this is what I'm doing it for. Like, I gotta ignore the craziness for right now and just keep it moving. So that's why people usually see like I'm upbeat or smiley and stuff, but trust me, it's not like that all the time. Like other times I'm ready to pass out. I'm just like, okay, I'm about to quit. Like I'm looking at my budget and just like, yeah. Because of course, like the other business I had, Mom Mobiles, is like sucking me dry right now. So I'm just like, I'm about to just cut that off so I can actually keep my money. But anyway, but yeah, so the struggle is real over here. It's just my goals honestly keep me going. I was like, okay, I want to be able to make a certain amount a month. I like spending money. My husband and I both like spending money. So like we want to be able to just to buy stuff and not have to worry about it pretty much. And that's my goal.
Okay. Well, I think that's very realistic, and that's that's something that I'm pretty sure a lot of people can relate to and understand, because I like to say money too. But but I definitely loved what you said about mental health, because I think as entrepreneurs, and I think just as human beings, I think mental health was never really something that people taught. It's never really something that people spoke about. It's nothing that people knew anything about or even understood. And I feel like now, with how different the world is now, and people are doing things, we're more active, we're
right.
online more. It's like it can be so draining. Yes. It can be so draining to the point to where you're just like, why do I have an online business? Like, why?
Right.
I hate the internet. I do social media management and I hate social media. Like,
listen, that was my struggle. That's something I stopped offering it for a short time, and then I was like, the only reason why I brought it back is because I had people helping me run it. I was like, other than that, like I would not offer it. I was like, I get so drained being on there. I don't even like running my own account.
Listen, I had to sit down and force myself to come up with content. I was like, Kim, you can do this. You got this. You need to sit down and think of content. And I'm just like, oh, I've already done this for like 5 other people. Like, why do I have to do this for myself now? Like, right. Then that's when I'm like, maybe I need to pay somebody to do this for me. But that's usually how it goes. I want to pay people. That's exactly how it is. Yeah, it's like you want to pay people to do the stuff for you that you do for everyone else.
Yep, that's exactly what I be doing. I was like, as soon as I got like a free thing, I'm like, let me pass this on, because I don't feel like doing it.
Well, I definitely, I'm loving the conversation and everything. One of my next things I was going to ask you is, you're a mom, you're a wife. What is it like to be a girl boss? Well, a female boss, entrepreneur, as well as, having to be the woman of the house and things like that. Because I think that, before, I won't say now, because now it's like women are doing everything. Now it's like it seems more attainable for women to have it all. What do you think about that concept of having it all?
I think it's achievable, but I think you need to have the right partner for it. I was like, luckily for like mine, like he'll help with cooking or like getting the kids in order. So it's just like he makes it easy. It's just like I gotta survive the daytime with everything. But like it's attainable. It's rough. Like the balance. Like I still feel like I'm not doing. I feel it's just like the constant battle of like feeling like I'm doing enough, spending enough time, making sure I have enough time for myself, and it's like I want to go to sleep, but it's just it's just a constant battle. But like having him, like he's definitely helpful. So I was like, I thankfully have somebody that's like in the corner that's ready to kind of like jump in and like he'll even help me like run some of my parts of my business because like one, I am terrible when it comes like believe it or not, I am terrible when it comes to writing emails to people, especially if they're not full of good news. I come off apparently as a little hostile sometimes. So like he'll sit there and do my emails for me or something of that aspect. But
I gotta see these hostile emails.
I know. I was like, I'm thinking it's all nice. He's just like, no, like don't send that. But I'm getting on top.
You gotta be a little hostile with people sometimes.
I know.
Hey, I be having to be. Listen, this is what it is. It's no way around it. Like
it's like sometimes people like. Oh my
people
God.
will try you.
Like the stuff I can bring up, but I'm not gonna bring it up here. But yeah, but definitely like it's definitely attainable. It's just making sure you have the right people around to get you to where you want to be at. Because it's definitely like rough doing it on your own.
I can definitely understand that, and having a support system or a team in place is definitely important. So what do you, I know you mentioned that, you have people on your team, people that are working with you, people that help you. What is that like for you? I know I've never really come across a lot of entrepreneurs that are making it work. Or, successful at like building a team and not like wanting to like, so and I know we've had like conversations.
Yeah.
So tell me what you've learned. I'll say this. What have you learned when it came to building your team and building that support system as well? Because it's great that you have a supportive husband, I'm sure you have a supportive family and things like that. What have been the main core lessons you learned about building that support system and that team to help you be as wonderful as you are?
So family is iffy, but for the most part, yes. Yes, they do. They do help. But like my parents are awesome. So like they definitely help when try to take the boys and stuff because I tell them like at least once a month, like I need a break so I can sleep. But they're definitely helpful when it comes to that. So I'm thankful for them. When it comes to like the business aspect of the team building, I have had some terrible people come through, so it's just.
I'm sorry. I'm just thinking of those conversations.
My thing with that is definitely first off, trust your gut. Like, if you have any like hesitation about somebody, listen to it because I've had like there's one person in particular like written down. Like, if you were to look on paper and see like the skills and everything, it's just like, oh, okay, like she's awesome. And it's like when I first like had her, it was just like, okay, something my gut was like, oh, like you should shy away from that. But I was like, oh, let me look on the paper. I was like, maybe it's just me. I try to get my feelings too involved in the business aspect. Mm-hmm. Now I don't care. I'm like, if my vibe's off, I'll end the contract and stuff real quick. But anyway, so with the team building, like with her, I was like, I'm not getting a good vibe. And then of course, like lo and behold, like she ended up trying to take like my logo and all kind of other stuff. And that's when I started like researching like copywriting and trademarks and all that other stuff. So that's why I tell people now, like, if you're gonna work with somebody, make sure you have NDA. Like, I had the contract in place, thankfully. So like, I was able to like, look, like, you're breaking all this. I was like, if you don't change your logo, do all that stuff, like, I will come after you. I don't have any hesitations with that.
I think that's that hostility your husband was.
Yeah.
I'm just playing.
Yeah, I was like, I always. But anywho, but like, when I tell people, when it comes to building a team, one, trust your gut, and two, thankfully the people I have now, like, we all kind of like, I wouldn't say knew each other, like we all came, like, cross paths, like in Facebook groups or somewhere random, or Instagram, because I'm on Instagram, I like playing around on there. So like, we kind of like came across that way, and then I kind of like I usually watch people for a while before I actually like do something. So like, I'll watch and see like what kind of stuff they're doing and things of that nature, and I'll usually like reach out to them like, hey, are you looking for like any side work or something? And thankfully they are. Like, it's awesome. But I will say, because I'm independent contractors and I have other independent contractors, it's not like an employee like situation. So I just try to build to where like, hey, like, as long as you can do the work and like meet deadlines, like, I don't care how you work, or like, just make sure it's done on time. Like, we all like joke around and stuff. So it's just, I like finding people with like my type of personality. This is why I hate like having to actually like research people and look for them, like when I'm doing like a job op. But anyway, it's just one of those things, like, trust your gut. Trust your gut. And like, if you can, start scoping out people that you may need in the future, like way in advance, or even like a few months in advance. I usually scope them out, or try to. But that's always different, like, until you actually start working together, and it's a time. But my best bet, that's my only advice for that. I was like, I still be picking some difficult.
You're right though. Like, you gotta like trust your gut, and you know, that's something I never realized how important that is to running a business as a whole, because it's like, people will surprise you. You know, people will surprise you when it comes to their support for you. You know, just their work ethic. You know, they will lie and lie and lie and say they want to help, and blah, 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 and then poof.
I know, be gone.
So I definitely, everything you're saying I could totally relate to. This is why I love you so much. So what is a piece of advice? You know, you're a successful entrepreneur, you know, you're running a business, you have a team, you know, people rely on you, people depend on you, they look up to you. What is a piece of advice that you would give to, say, a struggling entrepreneur right now, or someone that's looking to get into entrepreneurship? What is a piece of advice you would give for them to be successful?
Ooh, I got a few for y'all. But one, write down like your game plan. I feel like so many people, even now, because anyway, like even now, I was like, I feel like people just hop in because they see other people, like you said, like they'll see me, like, oh, she's getting all this and doing this, like her pricing, doing this, combining, doing teamwork and stuff. But like, I was like, what they don't see, I was like, that took over 2 years to even build to where I'm at. And I was like, I'm still trying to figure out my dang life. But first, like, figure out what you want to do. Two, figure out like, one, pricing, like just get everything in order beforehand. Like, if you know you want to hop into, like, I'll say virtual assistant, like you want to do that, make sure you know, like, one, what kind of VA you want to do. If you're like me, you weren't sure, you can kind of like test the waters, but still stick to stuff that interests you. Don't do it just because people are saying it's popular. But so yeah, don't do something just because it's popular. If you have interest in it, stick with it. Also, like, set yourself up as a business. Like, stop running yourself as a hobby. Because like, one thing that, like, I don't say, yeah, it drives me crazy sometimes. It's like, I'll see people building like these awesome things, and then like when they're actually at the point of like growing or like ready to expand and everything, like there's nothing of substance. It's just like they were selling stuff, they were making a bunch of money doing it, but like they didn't have any like plans, like they didn't have any like real goals except like to kind of like make money. So it's like they have to kind of backtrack, and it's like it just becomes a mess and like a headache, especially when they want to like outsource, like people like me. So it's just like you have to like go through everything. It's just like just make sure you have everything set from the get-go and like keep stuff written down. Like even if it's like I use Google Docs for mine or a notebook or something, like keep all your stuff written down that you want to do. Just pretty much just have your foundation set. That's the main thing I have to say. Like have a foundation how you want to do business, because one thing too, like though it's out here too, like yeah, for COVID, people are looking for grants, but like they weren't getting them because one, they didn't even have an EIN, and two, it's like there's no like they have business accounts, like there's no credit thing, like there's nothing, like you have nothing, like you're just literally running a hobby at this point. So it's just set yourself up. Like I know paying stuff sucks, but it's part of doing business, adding into your pricing. But foundation, I'm gonna stop rambling because I was like, I'll talk about that.
You're not rambling. You are telling the truth. You're preaching to the choir. So
yeah.
But I think that is all the questions that I had. I didn't want to take up too much of your time. So tell people how they can find you, how they can book you. And yeah, where you at, dog?
All right. Well, one, y'all can find me on Facebook. I have a business page, although people don't seem to use it and the reach is terrible. But it's under AVAS LLC, and then it's just AVAS LLC. And then you have a little cartoon with a girl with a bunch of arms coming out with glasses, me. So I'm on Facebook. Or if you are on Facebook personal profile, you can find me under Adriana Richardson. You'll see this face. And let's see, Instagram is where I'm at a good bit off and on. So Instagram, I'm under It's Adriana R. So ITSADRIANAR. And I'm also on, well, I also run another business, Mom Moguls. So like everywhere you look, just type in Mom Moguls, you'll find that. And that's where I'm at too. And then my main business website, that's where you do all the bookings and find the pricing, all that stuff, because I don't work in inbox. I hardly check it. So go to www.adrianasvasllc.com.
Whoop, whoop. Well, I am so thankful that I was able to allow people to get a glimpse into the wonderful person that you are. So definitely go spend money with her. Go and ask her tons of questions. Don't apply for anything if you aren't serious, because she will get hostile. I'm just but I appreciate you again so much, Adriana. You are the GOAT. And this has been another wonderful episode of Exquisite Conversations.